The bell rings, and the crowd falls silent. The anticipation is palpable. This is the moment boxing fans have been waiting for. George Kambosos Jr., the fiery underdog who shocked the world by defeating Teofimo Lopez, is about to face a new challenger. Jake Wyllie, a rising star with a reputation for ruthless precision, steps into the ring, his eyes burning with focus. It's a battle that promises more than just fists. It's about pride, legacy, and proving who truly belongs at the top. The stage is set for a clash that will be remembered for years to come. Kambosos, known for his unrelenting pace and tactical brilliance, had earned his place among the best in the world. But following his stunning upset over Lopez, some questioned if he could maintain his spot at the top. His loss to Devin Haney had raised doubts, but the fire in his heart had never gone out. This fight against Wyllie wasn't just another match. It was his chance at redemption, a shot at silencing critics and reclaiming his place as a force to be reckoned with. On the other side of the ring, Jake Wyllie stood as a challenger who wasn't just trying to make a name for himself. He was determined to dismantle the old guard. Unbeaten, with an aggressive style and an uncanny ability to read his opponents, Wyllie had quickly risen through the ranks. With each knockout and every victory, he gained momentum, and now, with Kambosos in his sights, he was poised to take that final step into the elite league of boxing's best. His confidence wasn't arrogance. It was a quiet assurance, a belief that this fight would be the one to elevate him into the sports spotlight. As the two fighters circle each other, the tension in the air is thick with the weight of their careers. Each jab thrown is not just a strike, it's a statement. Kambosos, with his well-rounded technical approach, and Wyllie, with his explosive power, are two worlds colliding. Their styles couldn't be more different, and yet they share one thing, an unrelenting drive to prove themselves. Fans in the arena and watching from home know this is no ordinary fight. It's a battle for supremacy, for the future of the lightweight division. Wyllie is the younger, fresher challenger. With his sharp movements and heavy punches, he seems to embody the next generation of boxing. But Kambosos is no stranger to adversity. His quick footwork and ring IQ have been tested before, and he's proven time and time again that he's more than just a lucky champion. However, this time, something feels different. Wyllie has shown a brutal efficiency in his last few matches, cutting down opponents with a chilling calmness that suggests he's ready for this moment. And while Kambosos is determined, the question remains, has he finally met his match? The first round begins, and the crowd's energy surges as the fighters engage. Kambosos stays on the outside, trying to control the pace with his jab, while Wyllie is looking for the perfect moment to strike. It's clear that Wyllie isn't going to give Kambosos any space to breathe. With every punch thrown, the ring seems to tremble with the weight of their ambition. But even as Kambosos lands clean shots, Wyllie shows no signs of slowing down. He's patient, calculating, but with a fiery intensity that refuses to let the veteran have his way. As the rounds go on, the intensity only increases. Kambosos' experience starts to shine through, but Wyllie's unpredictability begins to pose a serious threat. The younger fighter's reflexes are sharper, his punches more precise, and every time Kambosos thinks he's one step ahead, Wyllie lands a counter that reminds him just how dangerous his opponent is. The fans are on the edge of their seats, knowing that the fight could go either way. Kambosos needs to dig deep to remind himself why he's been one of the best. Wyllie, however, is ready to prove he belongs in the same breath as the boxing elite. But as the fight enters its final rounds, the tension reaches a fever pitch. Kambosos is bleeding from a cut above his eye, and Wyllie is showing no signs of letting up. The thought lingers, could Kambosos hold on for the victory, or will Willie's relentless attack overwhelm him? It's the question hanging in the air, unspoken but understood. Each fighter knows that this is the moment where careers are defined. With just one round to go, the battle is far from over. The crowd can feel it every punch, every step, every breath could be the difference between victory and defeat. The question on everyone's mind is clear. Who will leave the ring as the true champion? The answer is still to be decided, but one thing is certain: the end of this fight will leave no doubt about who deserves to be called the king of the lightweight division. The crowd roars as the final round begins, the tension so thick it's almost palpable. George Kambosos Jr., battered but unbroken, eyes his opponent across the ring. Jake Wyllie, the younger, fresher fighter, looks like he's only just begun. It's been a brutal back-and-forth battle, each round adding to the mounting sense of uncertainty. For a moment, it seems as if the fight could go either way, but one thing becomes clear: this is no longer just about winning. It's a test of will, of heart, and of who can endure when everything is on the line. Kambosos pushes forward, despite the cut above his eye widening with every movement. His heart pounds in his chest, and his mind races through every fight he's ever had, every moment that brought him here. But something is different. There's a fire in Willie's eyes that Kambosos hadn't seen before. Wyllie isn't just trying to win, he's out for something much more personal. The way he's dodging Kambosos' attacks, the way his punches seem sharper, more calculated, there's a chilling focus in the way he moves, and Kambosos can feel it. His instincts tell him something isn't right, but he's too deep in the fight to back away now. As the two fighters close the distance, the unexpected happens. Wyllie, who had been patient, almost too patient in the previous rounds, suddenly bursts into an explosive offensive. He unleashes a barrage of punches so fast, so precise, that Kambosos barely has time to react. The crowd gasps as one of the punches lands square on Kambosos' jaw, sending him stumbling back. It's the first time in the entire fight that Kambosos has truly looked vulnerable. His legs wobble, his vision blurs, but he's still on his feet barely. Wyllie smells blood. He circles like a shark, watching Kambosos struggle to regain his balance. But just as the younger fighter prepares for another knockout blow, something strange happens. Kambosos, despite the odds, recovers with the speed of a man possessed. He ducks under Willie's next strike, lands a quick body shot, and for a split second, the momentum shifts. The crowd erupts in disbelief. How could Kambosos, who just moments ago looked on the brink of defeat, suddenly regain control? The shift in energy is palpable, but it's short-lived. Wyllie doesn't hesitate. He retaliates with such force that it feels like the ring itself might collapse. This time, his punch lands clean on Kambosos' ribs, and the sound of it echoes through the arena. The hit is so solid that Kambosos drops to one knee, gasping for air. The referee begins his count, and for the first time in this brutal exchange, Kambosos looks like he might not get up. But there's something in his eyes, a stubborn spark that refuses to be extinguished. The seconds tick by, and Kambosos pushes himself up, his face grimacing with pain. He's fought battles before, but never like this. Wyllie, meanwhile, stands with an almost eerie calm, watching his opponent struggle. There's no celebration in his stance, no smirk on his face. It's as if he knows something Kambosos doesn't. Something that's been hidden in plain sight this whole time. As the final moments of the round tick away, the audience feels the weight of every punch, every moment. The fight is reaching its climax, and no one can predict what will happen next. But then, just as Kambosos, still wobbling, readies himself for the next exchange, an unexpected twist shakes the arena. A loud crack rings out not from the ring, but from the crowd. It's chaos. A figure dressed in black rushes into the ring. Security is slow to react, but the figure is already close to Kambosos, standing just inches away from him. The fighters, momentarily distracted, turn to face the new threat. The figure steps forward, holding something in their hand. At first, it's unclear what it is, but as they raise it high, the realization hits like a cold wave. It's a small, high-tech device, and the crowd's tension spikes. Is this some sort of distraction, a tactic to rattle the fighters? Or is it something more, something that could change the course of the fight entirely? Kambosos and Wyllie both stare at the figure in shock, momentarily caught off guard. The device in the figure's hand gleams under the lights, its purpose unknown. Is this a calculated move? A psychological weapon aimed at both boxers? The arena is suddenly in uproar. Fans scream, officials scramble, and the atmosphere grows heavy with confusion and suspicion. What's happening now? What's the true intention behind this interruption? For a brief moment, everything seems to freeze. Both Kambosos and Wyllie, with all the chaos unfolding around them, lock eyes. Their expressions tell the story of two men who have already given everything, but now face something far beyond the fight they had prepared for. A sense of dread lingers. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not here. Not now. As security moves in to restrain the intruder, the clock on the fight continues to tick. But the damage has already been done. The question now isn't just who will win the fight. It's whether the interruption has already shifted the balance in ways no one could have anticipated. Will this moment, this intrusion, tip the scales for one fighter or the other? Or will it change the very nature of the battle that was once between two men, but is now marred by the unknown? The fighters brace for what comes next, their minds racing, their bodies wary. But the end is still unclear. The fight isn't over yet, not by a long shot. The atmosphere in the arena crackles with uncertainty. The intruder, now restrained by security, is led out of the ring, but the damage has been done. The crowd's energy has shifted, confusion lingers in the air, and both fighters seem rattled by the unexpected disruption. Kambosos, his chest rising and falling with each labored breath, looks over at Wyllie, who, too, seems affected. It's clear that the intensity of the fight has shifted, and both men are left wondering if they can recapture the rhythm they once had. But as the referee signals for the final round to continue, something inside Kambosos snaps. With a raw determination, he pushes aside the fog of distraction, focusing entirely on Wyllie. He knows that this is his moment to prove he still belongs, that his legacy isn't defined by one bad night, but by the heart he shows when the stakes are highest. He digs deep, the pain in his body forgotten as he finds a second wind. Kambosos moves like a man possessed, his footwork quicker, his punches sharper. He's fighting not just for victory, but for everything he's worked for: the blood, the sweat, the sacrifice. Wyllie, though, isn't ready to back down. He's been waiting for this opportunity, and now, with Kambosos charging at him with renewed fury, the tension between them escalates. They exchange blows with a ferocity that seems to reverberate throughout the arena. For every jab Kambosos lands, Wyllie fires back with his own, a counter that knocks the air out of Kambosos' lungs. It's a brutal dance, each man giving everything they have in these final moments. Then, it happens. Kambosos sees an opening. Wyllie, perhaps just a little too eager, overcommits to a right hook, and Kambosos sidesteps, landing a crushing uppercut that connects perfectly with Wyllie's chin. The impact is immediate, and for a brief, surreal moment, everything slows. Wyllie's eyes widen, and his body crumples to the canvas in slow motion. The crowd gasps in collective disbelief. Kambosos stands over him, breathing heavily, knowing that this might just be the moment that seals his fate. The referee begins his count, but Kambosos doesn't move. His gaze never leaves Wyllie, waiting, watching for any sign of movement. Wyllie is still, his body splayed out on the mat. The seconds tick by, and it feels like an eternity before the referee's voice cuts through the tension. 10. The crowd erupts as Kambosos raises his fists in triumph, but his expression is one of quiet reflection. He knows this victory isn't just about winning a fight. It's about proving that he is more than just a flash in the pan. He is a champion, a force that can't be so easily written off. But as the crowd continues to cheer, an unexpected sound rises from the back of the arena, an urgent shout. Kambosos turns, confused. It's not a voice of celebration, but one of warning. Security rushes toward the entrance, and through the open doors, a new figure appears, another man, dressed in a suit, his face obscured by a mask. His arrival is like a spark to a powder keg. The crowd falls silent, unsure of what to make of this new presence. The man in the suit moves toward the ring with purpose, and Kambosos, still recovering from the fight, watches with growing unease. He's just won the battle of his life, but now there's a sense of dread hanging over him. The man finally stops at the edge of the ring, his eyes locking onto Kambosos. Without a word, he reaches into his coat and pulls out a small envelope, which he holds out toward the victorious fighter. Kambosos takes it, and as he opens the envelope, the contents send a chill down his spine. Inside is a contract, a challenge from an opponent even more dangerous than Wyllie, someone who has been watching from the shadows. The name on the contract sends shockwaves through the arena. It's not just any fighter, but a man whose reputation has haunted Kambosos since the beginning of his career, a figure from his past who Kambosos thought was long gone. This is the fight Kambosos had hoped he would never have to face. With the contract now in his hands, Kambosos looks around at the crowd, the cheers still echoing, but now tinged with an ominous undertone. He's won the battle, but the war isn't over. The victory feels hollow in light of the new challenge that looms before him. The question now isn't just whether he can hold on to his title. It's whether he has the strength to face the darkness that's coming for him, no matter how impossible it may seem. The crowd waits, the tension hanging heavy in the air as Kambosos raises the envelope high, his expression unreadable. Will he accept the challenge? The world holds its breath. And just like that, the story of George Kambosos Jr. has taken a turn no one could have predicted.